recovery needed. The new temperature benefits help you sleep just right, and the beds automatically adjust to your movements so you sleep comfortably throughout the night. Our Sleep Number smart bed has changed the way we sleep. Now, it's totally next level. My Sleep Number's 55, my partner's is 35. We even get personalized insights on how we're sleeping so we can sleep even better. Boost your daytime performance with the best nighttime performer. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number special edition smart bed for a limited time. Only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com/hits. sleepnumber.com/hits. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the National Football League.
More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
That time of the year is coming around.
The Holiday Classic is back on Christmas Eve.
Let's go!
Tune into NFL Network for an epic primetime showdown.
It's time for the holiday. We're going to set the tone.
As the Patriots
Finish that speed.
and the Broncos
Touchdown.
line up mile high for an AFC clash on Sunday night.
Oh, deck the hall. We having a ball.
The NFL Holiday Classic, Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network and streaming on NFL Plus.
The filmmaker behind 300 and Army of the Dead comes Rebel Moon, an epic sci-fantasy movie years in the making. When a peaceful settlement on a moon finds itself threatened, a mysterious stranger named Cora becomes their best hope for survival. Rebel Moon is led by the incredible Sophia Boutella and features Charlie Hunnam, Jamin Hansu, Duno Bay, Ed Skrein, and more. Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Available on Netflix December 22nd.
Soccer practice. Saturday morning?
Soccer game. Maybe Wednesday night?
Girls' night. How about Thursday?
Guys' night.
Let me see your phone. So next time we're both free is 3 months from now.
According to calendar.com, the average American schedules less than 4.5 hours a year for finances. Your finances deserve more. Go to massmutual.com today. Feel comfortable about tomorrow.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Think you could be lower testosterone? What do you mean? Well, guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works.
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text LIKE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text LIKE to 42424. That's LIKE to 42424.
Your year-round source for college sports. Sirius XM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148868.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's this. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's this.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Jordan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, in NBC News, ABC News, CBS News, in the Associated Press. That would include your news too. Give your news some praise. I want to tell you, on a beautiful day, December 19th, 2023. Everybody sing it with me. You know the song. Let's go. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Enough of singing. Okay, I'm singing. But I do want to tell you what people do like. I was nominated Neighborhood Watch Person in my neighborhood in Dimdale Hills, California. And I like to sing, what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! 3 o'clock in the morning. You see, some people are just party poopers. You'll find them almost at every party. They just want to party poop. But you don't have to be a party poop to follow Big C Sports. You can follow 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. Give that some praise. And streaming on 4 TV platforms. You can find us on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Good Pods Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Diesel Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Gio Saban out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. You can follow on Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, WePod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and the one that used to skip me, but that does it is allfees.ai. Give that some praise because the robots are trying to take over. You can also follow BC Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV podcast platforms all over the universe. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. If you like that, you want to give it some praise. I love giving it praise. I want to also give praise to the PSA that I love doing every show for about the last 4 years now. The Veterans Crisis Hotline. They are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anybody going through issues, they have a hotline. They will stand on their head to get you some help. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I do. And you do too. And it's just nice when they lean back. If they're pulling back, it's not a good Christmas. If they lean into you, it's a good Christmas. I want to tell you, I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. Give that some praise. That's not what he said, Terry. That's not exactly what he said. But what he did say is let there be light. That's what he said. And then light appeared. We're going to shine light on reparations because what did Governor Wallace say back in the day? He said segregation now, segregation forever. But I have a different song that I want to sing because he lied. He was wrong. What he should have been saying as he got on his knees and prayed to Jesus Christ, he should have said, reparations now, reparations forever. Give that some praise. But that's why God allowed Big C to say, you the lead, follow it out of the way. I love talking sports and politics, but I love being factual. I love being real. Anything I say on the Big C Sports Podcast, if you can't Google it, then don't believe me. I believe in giving out the facts, and I love giving out facts on the Big C Sports Podcast. I have another fact to give out. Would you like to hear it? Yeah. Well, one day, a man was out of town, and he was fishing in Dimdale Hills, California. Okay, what did he catch, Curry, when he was out? When he was out fishing, do you know what he caught? Well, some people, when they go fishing, they fish for bass. Some people, they go out, they fish for carp. And other people, when they go out fishing, if you grew up in my neck of the woods, you like fishing for catfish. Catfish? Why you want to fish for catfish? How about salmon? Well, because catfish, they're called bottom feeders. Bottom feeder? Why would you want to fish that's a bottom feeder? Because a bottom feeder, they get all the good stuff. It's like gravy on your potatoes that you're going to have for the holidays. You don't want just plain gravy. You don't want just plain potatoes. But when you mix the gravy and the potatoes, that's what catfish tastes like. Salmon's great. It's good for your skin. It's good for your heart muscles. But there's no dirt in salmon. Why do you want dirt in salmon, Curry? Well, look like a little kid. When kids go out for the holidays and they're playing in their hills, waiting for Santa Claus, they want to roll around in the snow. Yeah, they roll around in the snow. And they like playing when they get their shoes dirty. Yeah, it's okay, get your shoes dirty. But you know what they really love? They love catfish and collard greens. Ho, ho, ho! It's beginning to taste a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, there's catfish and collard greens. And that means you're going to be happy for the Christmas time this year. We want the real Christmas song, Curry. I think you're making those up. Yeah, I can't make it up. But what I won't make up, because I do love the catfish and collard greens, but I want to tell you what I also love doing. I produce the show. I think I'm the only podcaster in the universe that produce my own show. I direct all the topics. I broadcast all the shows, number 3. Number 4, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives, especially when people are trying to cut you off, or you just trying to get in line to buy some more toys. People trying to cut me off. One guy even gave me the middle finger salute. I said, come on, man, it's Christmas. And he was wearing a Santa Claus. He was wearing a Santa Claus suit and gave me the middle finger salute. Some people don't deserve the Santa Claus suit. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I do all the storytelling. They say facts tell and stories sell. And then I do the play-by-play. What you may hear coming up this Monday night for Christmas is at Levi Stadium in Dimdale Hills, California. The 49ers up to the line of scrimmage. 50-yard line, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Raiders. The snap, Purdy rolling to his right, rolling, he's looking downfield. He throws downfield, the ball is caught! Caught for the touchdown! Debo Samuel, 50 yards! And you're going to hear that coming up on Christmas Day in Dimdale Hills, California, when the 49ers take down the Ravens. I was at a coffee shop today, and it was actually called, it's a place that has a lot of gravy. And the guy came up and he had a Ravens hat on. And so I was talking to a man, he said he was 90 years old. And I asked for some almond milk in my coffee. And the guy, the old 90-year-old man, how do you know he was 90? Curry, he told me he was 90. That old 90-year-old man said, I'm 90 years old. I've never heard of almond milk. I said, oh man, it's so good for you. It's so good for your skin. In fact, you don't even have to shave when you take almond milk and pour it in your coffee. Again, he's 90. And he thought I was telling the truth. He said, well, I've never heard of that in my life. I said, well, you haven't been around long enough, followed Big C's words, and that makes sense. Give me some praise. The man was really sincere about, does almond milk really make you not have to shave? Be careful when you tell a joke to 90-year-old man. But I'm telling you, I love doing the play-by-play. This show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimdale Hills, California. And then 4 TV platforms. And then number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew back in the days at Salem Media. You want to give that some praise. Now you got people who miss a day in practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. But you know what I'm not going to miss? I'm not going to miss what happens when I tell you what President Abraham Lincoln said, what I want for Christmas. What did Mariah Carey say? She said, all I want for Christmas is you. Baby, all I want for Christmas is you. We want the real Mariah Carey. Well, you can't get the real Mariah Carey. She's busy right now. But what you can get from Big C is reparations now, reparations forever. That's what I want for Christmas. And you got to get that some praise because President Abraham Lincoln, he knew what he was talking about. And no president has had the decency to honor him. But I believe President Joe Biden will, because he wants to get reelected. You can't get reelected if your approval is at 34%. You gotta start looking at the people that got you in the office. That's the descendants of child slavery. I have a clue. I have a quiz. Would you like to hear it? Yeah, we want to hear your quiz, Curry. What's the quiz? I have a quiz on how to get elected to become the next president of the United States of America, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Now, rumor has it the election year is already upon us, and people are going to start going out stomping and asking people to give them the vote. I have a quick cheat sheet if you want to become the next president of the United States. You got it. What's the cheat sheet, Curry? You got to listen to what President Abraham Lincoln, he already gave us the answer to the test. What did he say, Curry? He said, if you want to get reelected to become the president of the United States, you got to sign reparations now, reparations forever, and you got to give that some praise. That's the clue. I give you the question and the answer to the test. You can't miss that if you follow what President Abraham Lincoln said. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I also want to make sure that they say if you know where you come from, maybe respect your roots a little better. I know where I come from, and I appreciate that. But I want to also pay homage to the Associated Press, because I got a call from Janie Hart, the Associated Press, and it was ring, 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 ring. I said, hello? She said, hello, is this Charlton Curry? I said, yes, this is Charlton. How can I help you? She said, this is Janie Hart, the Associated Press. I said, how'd you get my number? She said, oh, we have our ways. I said, okay, well, how can I help you? She said, I heard you speak at a reparations rally, and I wanted to get your thoughts on reparations. Notice she didn't call ESPN. She didn't call NBC Sports. She didn't call ABC Sports. She didn't call Fox Sports. She didn't call the NFL Network. She called one beautiful, intelligent black man. I said, if you heard me speak, then you know my thoughts on reparations. I believe in what President Abraham Lincoln already told us. My thoughts are reparations now, reparations forever. And give that some praise. Do you know that she wrote that story? It was a task force meeting in California, and that article was printed on March 30th, 2023. What? She called a sports show about reparations, Curry? Yeah, she called a sports show about reparations. And she mentioned in the article, Mark, you can Google it. It's on NBC News, CBS News, the Associated Press, ABC News. It's out there. It says March 30th, 2023, Charlton Curry of Sacramento, California, also known as Dimdare Hills, California. In Dimdare Hills, California, who discusses reparations on his Big C Sports podcast. You know what they quoted me saying? President Biden needs to hear this story. It's just what Abraham Lincoln said. He said reparations now. He said reparations forever. Because cash payments are necessary. And that money talks and BS walks. You ever hear somebody talking a lot of BS? You ever hear somebody talking about BS all the time? I hear a lot of our brethren on the news and radio stations, and they talk about everything outside of reparations. And reparations is just to repair. And I'm going to get into that. So my show has so much credibility. I may not be part of the mainstream, but I'm part of the God stream. Give that some praise if you're part of the God stream. Because how did God create this for my thoughts to be heard out of about 500 people at the Reparations Task Force meeting? And they let about 200 people speak. And it was a 2-day event in Dimdare Hills, California. And I got a call. I'm the only one that I know of that was mentioned in an article with President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and California Governor Gavin Newsom, who mandated the task force. And I'm a sports guy. They didn't call the guy shucking and jiving at ESPN. They didn't call the guy shucking and jiving at Fox Sports. They didn't call the guys shucking and jiving at NBC Sports or CBS Sports. Why they call me? I'm just saying, if I reverse engineer it, now because the inimitable Reverend Tony Pierce, the president and CEO of the National Black Wall Street Project, then he's also named Big C as a co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. California, give that some praise. I'm telling you, God has put this together. And now I've been saying that BET, Bob Johnson, has been someone that I've admired over the years. When he started BET, he didn't have $15,000 to rub together. He had to borrow the money. How many people don't have $15,000? Well, he didn't. But he started BET Television, Black Entertainment Television, and he sold it for over $3 billion. Yeah, he should have kept it, but he sold it for over $3 billion. And my goal at Big C Sports is to become a $1 billion company. And it's going to happen. More and more I see God opening those doors. Oh, my God, I just want to give God some praise. I just want to give God praise. Because some people think, how you going to make $1 billion? You don't have a game plan. I do have a game plan. Ephesians 3:20, it says God is able to give us above and beyond all we can ask or think. Give that some praise. Because a lot of things that I've been saying for about 5 years is coming into fruition now. I'm telling you, this is God's word. And I'm not here to shuck and jive and just talk about touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. Because there's a lot of guys that do that, and there's nothing wrong with it if that's as far as your elevator goes. But I believe God put me on this planet for a much brighter cause than that, and that's to pay homage to my ancestry. I know a lot of people, they don't want to talk about paying homage to our black ancestry. But when you follow Big C Sports, you'll see I'm not like the others. And I was told that you're not like the others. You're different. It's okay being different. Some people made it as an insult, but it's just an insult to themselves, because I've been heavily criticized by some knucklehead people that say, man, you talk too much politics on a sports show. And then I ask them to tell me, what do you talk about on your sports show? And most of the time it's like, well, they don't have one. So if you don't have one, why would I listen to you? You either got to lead or follow, get out of the way. And not everybody wants to see you succeed. There are a lot of people that say, man, I'm always on your side. I've always believed in you, but I want to give you a word of advice. Could you take some open criticism? I say, can I take some open criticism? It depends on who it's coming from. Well, see, I just want to tell you, I think you talk too much politics on your show. And all I ask you, well, show me what you talk about in your show. Oh, I don't have one. See, you got to run away from people who are negative. Some people, they just come around, they want to suck. You ever been around somebody who just wants to suck? All they want to do is suck. Why do they want to suck? Because sometimes that's what they're good at. If that's what you're good at least make sure you get paid for it. Because some people who suck, they want to come aside, they want to come around and just criticize. What did Alexander O'Neal say? All you want to do is criticize. The great Alexander O'Neal. Some people, they just want to suck. That's what they're good at doing. They suck, and they suck, and they suck until they realize there's no one else to suck. No one's listening to them. And I'm telling you, with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, I believe in what I'm doing. All I'm doing is standing on the shoulders of President Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. But I thought you were going to tell me who won the game, Curry. I'm going to tell you who won the game. The people who won the game are the people who get paid. All those people running around playing with balls, football, basketball, baseball, you know most of them get paid. They get paid. You know who hasn't gotten paid. You want to know who's gotten paid yet? The people who built this country for free, the descendants of chattel slavery, who were brought to this country from 1619 and worked from cradle to grave until 1865. And then President Abraham Lincoln, working with Frederick Douglass, crafted the Emancipation Proclamation to offer black Americans 40 acres and a mule, because it was black soldiers that helped the Union win the Civil War over the Southern Confederates. And unfortunately, when President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson came along and he vetoed the bill. He vetoed the bill. Curry, what's that mean? It means he gave the land back to the Southern Confederates. And they kept the money. That money was meant for black folks. I know you're too busy watching the game to understand that, but right now Congress is considering reparations. And we can't wait to see who's going to win the game. And I'm asking the NFL, the Commissioner Roger Goodell, who's been made a multi-millionaire because of black bodies. Beautiful bronze black bodies running up and down the field. There was a time when the NFL was segregated, but they realized the power of the black bodies, and they started allowing black men to participate in the NFL. And now they're making more money than they've ever made in the history of this country. You look at NBA basketball. Adam Silver, he's been made a multi-millionaire because of black bodies. Running up and down the court. Multi-millionaire. There was a time when basketball was not integrated. It was a segregated sport. And with the black men being allowed to participate in NBA basketball, that league is making more money than it has ever made in the history of the United States of America. And so I appreciate what the NFL is doing when they say end racism. Adam Silver's a Jewish American. Roger Goodell, Jewish American. And they know what I'm going to talk about is Holocaust survivors' rights that Senator Marco Rubio reintroduced to Congress, as well as Florida Senator Rick Scott. It's the same thing that California Senator Stephen Bradford's introducing to California, mandated by Governor Gavin Newsom. I'm going to talk about that, but we can't just be... I don't want to be like the other guys. Oh, man, how about those Cowboys? Can you believe those Cowboys? Oh, my God, those Cowboys lost to the Buffalo Bills. What about the Eagles? I can't believe they didn't beat Seattle last night. I'm talking about black men that have reparations right now in Congress. H.R. 40, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, she has over 173 endorsers of that bill to pay reparations to descendants of chattel slavery. Like President Abraham Lincoln in Big C Sports. I say reparations now, reparations forever. But we're too busy standing up for the kickoff. We stand up for the kickoff, and even our white brethren know that descendants of chattel slavery, they worked from cradle to grave. They were beaten, they were raped, they were murdered, they were lynched. Their children were sold with impunity. They could not make any money. They were not allowed to. From cradle to grave. Now people, they want to go on strike so they can get an extra $2 on a paycheck. The slaves couldn't go on strike. And now they got us drunk in love watching sports. But I'm different. And I want to give being different some praise because it's factual. If you can't honor President Abraham Lincoln, are you really an American? He's the only one that ended slavery in the United States of America. He's the only one. But what he gave as a, we're coming up on Christmas. People are out there in the malls, cutting each other off in line, two cars trying to get to one parking space, honking horns at each other. Honking the horn because somebody saw the same parking space, trying to get their gift so they can get home and wrap it in paper and then open it under the Christmas tree. But President Abraham Lincoln, he had a gift too. He had a gift for the descendants of chattel slavery. He couldn't help the people who had already been lynched and murdered and beaten and sold ad nauseum. But he saw the pearly gates, and he wanted to atone for his sins before he met with God. Like everybody else in Congress, in the Senate, and every president, they want to atone for their sins before they meet God at the pearly gates. And so that's he put, with the help of Frederick Douglass, crafted the Emancipation Proclamation to give black Americans 40 acres and a mule. We know the story. And we never got paid! So just because we have some wealthy professional athletes running up and down the courts playing with balls, it doesn't mean that reparations has ever been given out. Remember that when you open your gift for Christmas. Remember when you open your gift for Christmas, President Abraham Lincoln, he left us a gift too to open. Imagine when somebody, they steal your gift! And Congress knows that money was meant for black folks. President Obama used some of that money. President Trump used some of that money. And President Biden used some of that money. There's some things we're going to talk about in 2024 about financial planning. It's so powerful. Because President Lyndon Baines Johnson, when he signed the Civil Rights Bill, he did something for all Americans, especially black Americans. He gave us civil rights, made some things that were illegal legal. So when Governor Wallace said, segregation now, segregation forever, he meant that. He's probably looking up right now from that burning fiery pit if he gets what he deserved. Be that as it may. But we have a choice. I know you want to watch the game. I know you can't wait to see if Steph Curry is going to drop 30 points. You can't see if LeBron James is going to score a triple-double. What did Ice Cube say? He messed around and got a triple-double. Ice Cube, when he petitioned one of the presidents about what he going to do for black Americans, I'm telling you right now, I'm precious enough to tell you this, and you already know it. When it's time for the politicians to get out of their house and start going around asking for the vote, they're going to go to the black church. They're going to trot out President Obama. They're going to ask all the black leadership, can you get those black folks to come vote? Can you get the black folks to come vote for me again? Why? I think the next president of the United States is going to be the one that champions what President Abraham Lincoln told us. Well, what did he tell us, Curry? He said reparations now, reparations forever. You got to know that. Don't come around saying what you're going to do. You've had the chance to do it. I want to thank Double O, the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. He sent me Executive Order 13985 on further advancing racial equity and support for the underserved communities through the federal government. That's called the White House. Now, I commend the NFL for putting in racism at the end of every NFL goalpost. It's in stadiums. When Colin Kaepernick was trying to do it, they told him you can't have a job anymore. But they stood on this platform. They said Colin Kaepernick was right. He was just saying, let's do what President Lincoln said. Pay reparations. Liberty and justice for all Americans. Decent people, all colors, all hues and colors. All life came from Africa, according to Dr. Lee King Recommendo. Everybody knows that. If you don't know it, Google it! Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of man, considered the world's foremost paleontologist. He looked to Europe, but he didn't stay long. He traced the origin of man back to Africa. The womb of a black woman. Dr. Gregor Mendel, considered the world's top scientist, he said that dark skin is dominant, that light skin is recessive, that dark eyes are dominant, light eyes are recessive. He said you can get the recessive traits from the dominant gene, but you can't get the dominant genes from the recessive genes. That's Mendel! So how is it that we've come to this great country, helping win the Civil War, and when the present that President Abraham Lincoln set under our Christmas tree, it was stolen and given to the people who lost the Civil War. And they never gave it back! The Homestead Act was reparations for white Americans. The United States government, they gave over 276 million acres of land to white people. And even white Europeans. And when black people asked for the land also, they said, well, we're going to have you lift up your voice and sing and make that the Negro national anthem. May lightning strike! They gave everybody else money. They told us to lift up your voice and sing. I want to change that. And Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott of Florida, they know what I'm talking about. They reintroduced a bill to Congress called Restore Holocaust Survivors' Rights. They need to do it next for descendants of child slavery, black Americans. Reparations, I want to give praise to Georgetown University because they've already pledged over $1 billion and counting to descendants of child slavery, just 272 families. Now, it's not as much as President Zelensky gets. In fact, it's nearly 200 times less the amount that President Zelensky got, and he's not even an American. For a war they're losing. Now, how do you make that make sense? I'm about to lose the war, but I need more money. You knew that when the war started. While there's 1 million kids starving in the Sudan. I interviewed a presidential candidate for the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mr. Mwembe, and he talked about that fact. The people just go to Africa to suck. They go there to suck like a locust, to suck all the resources out. And it's a shame, most of them are European. What is it about sucking that Europeans love? Everywhere you go on the planet, you sucked everything out! All the resources, the minerals, even lives. It's time to pay up. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. I'm telling you, I want to give that some praise. Before I get into some sports, I want to thank Double O, National Payout Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. He sent me this article that came from the United Nations. It says that strong political will and strong leadership are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent, and that the entire economic community of the world should be right behind the president that signs reparations for the sins of child slavery. That's important. You got to give that some praise. That's not Big C Sports. I'm asking for decent people to champion this. I know you want us to watch the games. You can't wait until we get up and down the courts, dribbling balls, playing with footballs, basketballs, and baseballs. I want to thank T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. I want $6 billion. I want it all. So President Joe Biden, he's 34% in the polls. He backs studying reparations, and Congress considers the bills for reparations. But he didn't ask our opinion when he gave President Zelensky $100 billion, and now he wanted another $110 billion plus the airplanes. But he did give him before he left for Christmas. How about $200 million? How many Americans could benefit from $200 million? It's just a fact. How do you justify not passing reparations when you're giving money to people who are losing the war, the same way the Southern Confederates lost the war, and Andrew Johnson gave them all the money that was meant for black folks? Before I get into sports, you can Google what I'm going to tell you. If you can't find it in Google, don't believe me. If you can't research this stuff for yourself, I'm going to tell you about the game, because we're all drunk in love with the game. But when those people play games, you know what they get. They all get paid. Freedmen's Bank, Google it. FREEDMENS Bank, a United States bank, chartered by the United States Congress, March 3rd, 1865, to provide a place for former slaves to safely store their money. After several successful years in which freedmen deposited more than $57 million in the bank, it collapsed in 1874 as a result of fraud and mismanagement. There were white trustees, 50 of them, that were in charge of black folks' money. And they stole the money! Congress created this bank. Freedmen's Bank, the money deposited was to be invested in stocks, bonds, and treasury notes or other securities of the United States. Unlike a conventional bank, Freedmen's Bank was forbidden to make loans. You need a loan to go start a business. You need a loan to buy a house. You need a loan for a lot of things. And the bank was only there to suck black people's money out of their pockets and put it into the bank where people were allowed to make investments. White people were. And they stole everything. And then you still have people that say, "Oh, we don't need to give black people reparations." That's why the Supreme Court even said we don't need affirmative actions. Everything's fair now. And then you find Clarence Thomas, he was in debt, voting no to affirmative action. You can Google this stuff. He should be the main one championing reparations because the slaves look just like him. And he knows it. And the decent white people should be championing reparations because the slave owners look like them. Oh, I had nothing to do with that, but that was a long time ago. If somebody steals your toys or things that don't belong to them, you know there's no statute of limitation on recovery. If someone stole something, there's no statute of limitation on recovery. So when they find it, if they trace it back to you, they give it to you. And there's Native Americans now that had land stolen from them by people that call $5 Indians. They were paying and changed their lineage to Indian so they could get the reparations that was given to Native Americans. They stole it! But now you know in the law, if you can prove that you have Native American ancestry, you can get it back because there's no statute of limitation on fraud. You got to give that some praise. So I told you about Freedmen's Bank, and it's time for descendants of chattel slavery to get paid. No more shucking and jiving. Well, that's my story that I'm sticking with it. You want to give Big C Sports some praise. And now, as we stand up for the kickoff, I want to give praise. I'm the only sports show in the universe that's going to do what I'm going to do now. Because I believe if you know where you come from, you respect your root better. All life came from Africa. I just told you that. You can Google it. Dr. Leaky Greg Remindo. I want to give praise to the California Reparations Task Force. You won't hear this anywhere else. I want to give praise to Camila Moore. She's the chair. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown, who's the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. And I've spoken with all of them. I want to give praise to the #1 senator of the United States of America, California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Going to be talking to him also. He's responsible for name, image, and likeness that helps college athletes get paid on their name, image, and likeness. He also sponsored the Ebony Alert that helps law enforcement put the same resources into finding black children when they go missing as they do in the Amber Alert that spends money finding white children. He's also part of the California Reparations Task Force. That's why I give him praise. Let me really look him up for holidays. I want to give praise to Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stephanie. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to her attorney, Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. As a Japanese American, he received reparations. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Give them all praise, praise, praise. And they've all had conversation with Big C Sports. And now, as we stand up for the kickoff, I want to tell you last night, there was a football game in Dimdare Hills, California. Actually, it was in Dimdare Hills, Washington, otherwise known as Seattle, Washington. And Big C said that I thought the Seahawks would win. If it were a real fight, then an eagle would maul a Seahawk. But this was a football game. And what a game it was. When I think about the great football that's being played in this country for the NFL, and people are championing for a spot in the playoffs, the point spread was 3.5. If you heard my show last night, I said that the Seahawks will win. And Las Vegas also won too, because for people that bet on the Seahawks to win by 3.5, they lost because they won by 3. It was 2017 where the Seahawks, Drew Lock's late touchdown pass rallied the Seahawks to a 2017 victory, and they were able to beat the Eagles. And when you think about it, the Eagles have lost 3 in a row now. They lost to the 49ers from Dimdare Hills, California, and then that was in Philadelphia. Then they went to Dallas and they lost to the big boys with those big cowboy hats, the Dallas Cowboys. And then they flew across the country and they lost to the Seattle Seahawks. So chances are they will win their next game. That's a clue, 800 Gambler. But when you think about Drew Lock, he was kind of hanging out fishing. And then you get a chance to come in front of the 12th man at Lumen Field. The crowd was absolutely nuts. It was just one of those moments where he threw a 29-yard touchdown pass to Jackson Smith and Jimba with 28 seconds left to cap a 92-yard drive, and the Seahawks stunned the Eagles. It really wasn't stunning because they were favored by 3.5. They won 2017. Ending in 4-game skid, getting back into the NFC playoff. They're 7-7. And they're right there with the Rams, looking for that second playoff spot from the NFC West. I know the 49ers are right now the leaders in Dimdare Hills, California. So you gotta give them some praise coming off the bench when Geno Smith couldn't play. And Big C's, I predicted that. I don't bet on games, but if I did, I'm about 70% on winning. Had I put up the $5,000 when the season began, I'd probably be up to $500,000 now. But I don't bet on sports. 800 Gambler. The house always wins, if that makes sense to you. So I don't bet on sports, and I don't want to be that kind of person that does. But what I want to do is, I love what I'm doing with the Big C Sports Podcast. I was thinking about all the great things that are going on in society, and I want to say, I'm asking decent people of our country, everyone have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you call it. But I want to flash back to Muhammad Ali, at the center of any talk about activism and black athletes. And I'm making a plea to black athletes and white athletes too, in every hue of color on the planet. But Muhammad Ali, he stands with longtime trader Drew Boudini Brown. And Bandini Brown, I talk about it on every show. I pay homage to Muhammad Ali on every show. He was at the Cleveland Summit where they had the late Jim Brown, the late Bill Russell, and the late Muhammad Ali was there. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there at that time. Some other great men. But when you think about it, Muhammad Ali became the first man to win the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times in a row. It was at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, back on September 15, 1978. And Muhammad Ali knew he did not have much time left. His career was at stake, but more importantly, so was his freedom. Like Freedmen's Bank, money set aside for African Americans. What's that got to do with Ali, Curry? It has everything to do with Ali. Because people champion Muhammad Ali, but they don't champion what President Abraham Lincoln left for not only Muhammad Ali, but for every descendant of chattel slaves in the United States. As he awaited the day he was formally refused to be inducted into the armed forces of the United States of America. So he embarked on a grand tour to make some money before his fighting days came to an end. As heavyweight champion, he fought in a soccer stadium in England. You know, England, Lloyd's of London, out of England, they insured the slave ships. They paid off the last loan in 2015. People don't know that. You can Google it. But he fought a fight at a soccer stadium in England and at an ice rink in Germany. You know, Germany paid reparations to descendants of Holocaust victims. They understand why they did it. To repair. How did Germany beat the United States in doing a repair to the most egregious crime in the history of this country? Slavery! Oh, Curry, slavery existed all over the world. It was a peculiar institution in the United States. Most places it was called manumitted slavery. You could earn your freedom through your labor, through your manual labor. The United States was more draconian. In the land of the free, the home of the brave. Now, Muhammad Ali, he defended his title twice in the brand new Houston Astrodome down in Texas. Part of a flurry of 7 bouts in less than a year. Now, Muhammad Ali, revered by many at his death, Muhammad Ali was equally reviled at that same time. Like many black athletes who stand or take a knee to speak out for political or social change, he paid a price for his actions. I believe he was a vanguard. He was even a maven. And when you think about what he stood for, he did it for a lot of people. He didn't have to. You got to keep in mind, he never wavered despite nearly going bankrupt and drawing the wrath of a good portion of the United States that viewed him merely as a draft dodger. There's a lot of people in politics that have dodged the draft. Most presidents of the United States, they never enlisted in the armed services. They didn't fight for this country. They were politicians. They didn't fight. They didn't serve this country. Only a few did. But he had announced after beating Sonny Liston, I remember my father telling me about that fight, to win the heavyweight title in 1964, that he converted to Islam and was a follower of the Nation of Islam. If you watch the movie Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that was played by Al Freeman Jr., he was my father's roommate in the Air Force. Isn't that something? He believed that 1,000,000%, that Ali's longtime business manager, Gene Kilroy, he never wavered because he believed that Allah was on his side and that people didn't believe him, but he believed. And then I'm championing to the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He said it was important for black athletes to stand with Ali to show he had support within his community. Former NBA great basketball player, the scoring leader in the history of the NBA basketball. That's not true, Curry. It's LeBron James. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar only made 1 3-point basket in his career. He's a leading 2-point scorer in the history of the NBA. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But former NBA basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that you see making commercials right now about AFib, he stood with Jesse Jackson Jr. before the third presidential debate at UNLV in Las Vegas, Nevada, October 19, 2016. That was important because America did not think that black Americans had any voice whatsoever And that basketball legend said that. Kareem said that. We had no political muscle, no legal means to help the other brother, but we let him know that we're behind him, and eventually he won his case. But Ali lost the heavyweight title. In 3 years of what would have been the prime of his career when he was fighting, he was forced into exile from the ring. At this time, the 70-year-old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's still making TV commercials to this day, has had conversations with the great Colin Kaepernick. And he said the former NFL quarterback who sparked the league protests by kneeling during the national anthem before the game is paying a similar price. A country that refuses to pay reparations. They punished Colin Kaepernick because he said, start treating black people fair. And he took a knee because a military man that many people never even served this country, a military man said it'd be more respectful to the military if you took a knee. But mainstream media made it seem like he's anti-United States. And that was never the case. But they lied about it anyway. So Muhammad Ali sacrificed a lot to take that position. And he said of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, author of Becoming Kareem, growing up, on and off the court, that was a great sacrifice on his part. That was the height of his career in his mid-20s. Imagine being in your 20s again when your whole life is in front of you. The heavyweight champion of the world, the same thing happened to Colin Kaepernick. Anybody who knows that anything about football will tell you that he's a talented athlete and should be on somebody's team. But the same people that turn their backs on Colin Kaepernick, many of them have jobs in media. And many of them are Caucasian. And many of them never even served this country. And if they served this country, they would have known that Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee to pay homage to the military. But they made a more sinister narrative. That same narrative came out of Governor Wallace back in the day when he said, segregation now, segregation forever, instead of doing the right thing. And I'm championing and asking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because you have a great faith. We need to reach the White House. Whoever's going to become the next president of the United States, President Biden, you're the 45th president. You got the ball in your hand, just like Kareem would have the ball in his hand for the sky hook. The reason Kareem scored more points than anybody in the history of the NBA is because he had a shot that no one can touch. President Biden, you have a shot that no one can touch either. It's called the black vote. It's the same swing vote that put President Biden in office. President Trump not getting the swing vote, the black vote, he lost his presidential candidacy. President Obama got elected in office because of the black vote. President George Bush, he got elected in office, whether Al Gore and Bush, whatever happened to that shenanigans, they tried to block the black vote. But people know the black vote is the most cherished vote in the universe. They're either trying to block it, or suck it out of the polling places, or they're trying to stomp in your communities, asking our black pastors to stand up for a person that won't even sign reparations. And just like Kareem, when he had the ball in his hand, he shot the sky hook and he made it. The man who signs reparations will become the next president of the United States. Rumor has it. You got to understand that. Because Colin Kaepernick took a knee during a playoff game of the national anthem before an NFL football game against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, Georgia, where Dr. King is laid to rest. Dr. King said the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And the group of people that have not received reparations is just us, black Americans. That same group of people that helped the Union win the Civil War. And President Lincoln left us a gift under the Christmas tree called reparations. Now remember what it feels like when you go to open your present and somebody stole it! And Congress can give it back because they're considering reparations now. As we stand up for the kickoff, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. So black athletes have a storied history of being sidelined for speaking out, dating as far back as Jack Johnson of the early 1900s. 1932, boxer Jack Johnson, the first black world heavyweight champion, he posed for a picture in New York City. It's a testament to their commitment, their courage, their intellect, their understanding of the issues, and their potential role in rectifying some of these challenges that you've spoken about in this country. In positions of power, we're willing to pay the price. Harry Everett said, longtime civil rights activist and a sociology professor emeritus at the University of California, Berkeley. None stand taller than Ali. Ali's final fight in the ring before taking the government into consideration was at Madison Square Garden, where he punished Zora Foley before stopping him in the 7th round to remain unbeaten. We got to understand, the same Associated Press, they use his birth name, Cassius Clay, in the story that fateful day, April 1967 in Houston. But as he stood with 11 other inductees, the United States government called him Muhammad Ali not once but 3 times to take a step forward for induction in the United States Army. He did not take that step. His religion, Ali said, did not allow him to kill in Vietnam in the name of others. He said he's not going to die a Muslim. He said he's going to, the day before, they don't think I'm serious, but I will show them I'm serious. Because he did not go into the military the way many presidents in the United States, they never fought for this country. That decision never cost Ali a day in prison, even though he would be sentenced to serve 5 years for draft evasion. The United States Supreme Court, they later overturned this case on a technicality. That same Supreme Court, they could pass reparations now. They've done it for descendants of Holocaust. They've done it for Native Americans. They've done it for Japanese Americans. They've done it for everybody except for the people who helped the Union win the Civil War. And that's black soldiers. I'm asking the NFL and the NBA to sit down, like Dr. King said, at the table of brotherhood and do the right thing. It's not about black and white. It's about right or wrong. Because every person knows that for Christmas, they're going to go down to that Christmas tree if they're lucky enough to have a gift. And they're going to try to open that present and see what's inside. Some even shake the box before they even open it to see what's inside. And President Abraham Lincoln, he gave us a gift that has yet to be opened. It was meant for descendants of child of slavery. And we know what Andrew Johnson did after Lincoln was assassinated. There's not one president that's chosen to do the right thing. Now, President Biden, you talked about it. You're slipping in the polls. You're slipping in the polls. You gotta know that your solution is right in your hand. That same pen that you used to sign the crime bill that incarcerated many black men and destroyed black families, you can use that same hand to sign reparations in the law. You have a blueprint in front of you. It's called the Emancipation Proclamation, and President Abraham Lincoln, he gave you a layup the same way the Lakers and Magic Johnson would give Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a layup. The same way Ali would in the ring, he would float like a butterfly and he would sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble! With all you got to use, how can you lose? President Biden, your election is right in your hand. What are you gonna do? You gonna dribble the ball out of bounds? Or you gonna pass reparations and get reelected? You have President Abraham Lincoln's blessings. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it on every Big C Sports Show. As I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't get behind the wheel of a car after you've been drinking or driving. The life you save may be your own or somebody that you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And you know it's true. It's so true. Well, back by popular demand. For everyone that follows Big C Sports, I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day. Well, hold on, Big C. You didn't say what you did in the outset. Oh, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, You float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because every time I listen to Big C Sports, it makes me want to say reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee, and I'm rumbling, and I'm always rumbling. My beautiful mother always says, there's never, ever an excuse for racism. Listen up, Congress. Or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911. Because things change when the police show up. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage. Call 911. You should never have to deal with that garbage. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, now, back by Pablo the Man. Big C, I thought you were going to pay homage to President Abraham Lincoln. I am. Just give me a chance. Well, as I always tell you, we're going to pay homage to President Abraham Lincoln, so the 46th president, and maybe the 47th president, if that makes sense to you, will follow the clue he left behind. Whether the President Abraham Lincoln said he wanted for Christmas, he wanted reparations now. He wanted reparations forever. Come on, y'all, say it like your team just won the game. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell Santa Claus that he wanted for Christmas? He said he wanted reparations now. He wanted reparations forever. Come on, say it like you just got the best toy you've ever gotten in the history of the universe. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell Congress he wants for Christmas in 2024? He said, I want reparations now. I want reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.